world moves fast. Your workday? Even faster. Pitching products, drafting reports, analyzing data. Microsoft 365 Copilot is your AI assistant for work. Built into Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and other Microsoft 365 apps you use. Helping you quickly write, analyze, create, and summarize. So you can cut through clutter and clear a path to your best work. Learn more at Microsoft.com/M365 Copilot.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. Stop waiting around for the perfect candidate. Instead, use Indeed sponsored jobs to find the right people with the right skills fast. It's a simple way to make sure your listing is the first candidates see. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs have 4 times more applicants than non-sponsored jobs. So go build your dream team today with Indeed. Get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile with a message for everyone paying big wireless way too much. Please, for the love of everything good in this world, stop. With Mint, you can get premium wireless for just $15 a month. Of course, if you enjoy overpaying, no judgments, but that's weird. Okay, one judgment. Anyway, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet. Happy Friday, WWT Live. This is your PR princess, your timeless elite, Stone Cold Courtney, whatever you want to call me on this Friday edition, because we have a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, we know we have NXT Vengeance Day tomorrow. We have SmackDown. We also have CMLL happening tonight as well. So it's a lot of weekend of wrestling, but I ain't complaining because it's Friday and it's wrestling, and that's what we love to do. But thankfully, I am not here alone, and I'm very happy that she came back, and one of our newest co-hosts for WWT Live. Happy to have Miss Hope in the building.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Courtney. Happy SmackDown Friday. Big wrestling weekend. Yes.
big wrestling weekend. But how has been your week? How has been your Friday so far?
Outstanding. Between what's going on personally, what's going on in the media, I cannot wait to talk it up and hear what some of our folks have to say in the chat as well, because there's a lot. There's a lot.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, but shout out to Eric Isaac and Lewis Johnson in the chat for joining us on this Friday. We're going to kick it off with some TNA news, which is a rarity that ever happens. But if you watched TNA Impact last night, they re-signed another knockout, and it was Rosemary. If you saw the promo that she did with Carlos Silva, she signed the contract and she is back on TNA. And Hope, I just wanted to get your quick thoughts on this regarding Rosemary, because she's been with TNA for close to 10 years, and she's been one of the knockouts that have been holding it down. So I just wanted to give your quick thoughts on this. And was this a good decision that TNA made?
This was an outstanding decision. Stand by Rosemary all the way. Yay, TNA. Outstanding. So happy for her. So happy for them.
I know it's really nice to see her give that congratulation, because she said in her promo she wants to have one last run. You think it's possible that we could see her one last run for the TNA Knockouts title?
Why not? Why not? She's still together. She never lost it. I can totally see her being champ one more time. Absolutely.
Wow. We here at WWT, and it's a very honor that it's Women's History Month. We do want to send our well wishes to Rosemary on this achievable remark, and hopefully we do get to see her be TNA Knockouts champion once more. But as I said, there's a lot of news regarding TNA. We have Steph DeLander. If you recall from Wednesday, when we broke the news out regarding her and Mace Warner, it was very hard to swallow. And we actually found out from TMZ Inside the Ring, she did an interview where she kind of went a deep dive into walking her out on TNA. She really went on some of the topics regarding the medical clearance, the medical evaluations, along with paying for her surgeries, and also the alleged advice from TNA management. She kind of went into detail regarding the medical evaluation, saying, I have not been evaluated by any medical professional on the TNA end. They haven't evaluated my medical history. They haven't contacted my surgeon. They haven't looked at any of my medical stuff. It's just they made a personal choice. And then she goes on to further saying, Carlos called me on Monday and told me, look, we're just not comfortable with you wrestling. And I was like, well, I'm literally fully cleared. And he said, yep, not into it. And then I asked, do you know what my injury is? And he didn't know. He couldn't tell me what my injury was. And going in the details, she had to pay for her surgeries, where she paid for both of them. She paid for PT for both of them. My insurance maxed out. It was 100% covered on my end. And if you're not working at TNA, I was not on a salary. If you're not there, if you're not on the road, if you're not working, you don't get paid. And on the alleged advice from TNA management, I was asking them, like, hey, is there anywhere, any other places you know that you guys can send me to do my rehab? The response to that from someone very high in the company was quoted, well, maybe you should DM Stone Cold Steve Austin or Kurt Angle and ask them for advice. Hope, I want you to dive into this because there's a lot of story to unpack after this recent exit from TNA.
Oh yeah. I was actually disturbed as I was, reviewing and listening and playing back. And it's like the organizations usually, the promotions generally take care of their workers. They take care of those who are no longer with them a lot of the time, contrary to popular belief. It is surprising that a lot of this came out of her pocket, allegedly. And this is where the perhaps union word, I know is a banned word in wrestling, but this is where unions come in because they put their bodies on the line every night, and women's bodies are designed differently. They can obviously handle it, but they take a lot of bumps that we weren't probably designed to initially do, even though we can do it fabulously well. But this is not okay. This is very disturbing to me on a number of levels.
It's funny, we were talking about this a couple weeks ago with my other co-host Kane. I said, if anybody could give me Jesse the Body Ventura's email or phone number, we need to start a wrestling union, because that's who I thought of was Jesse the Body Ventura, because I know he tried to do this in his prime, but of course we already know the story on how it didn't happen. But I do think this is the thing that you have with unions. We did talk about TNA suing Gail Kim, and that was a surprise lawsuit out of nowhere. Obviously, of course, there's just been many things. I don't know if TNA paid for Chris Bay when he got his serious injury. I'm not sure on that. But there is a lot of things, as you said, happening. I do think it is a wrestlers union. I mean, I would love to see it happen while Jesse the Body Ventura is still alive. I don't want to see it when he passes and then it's like, oh, he was right all along. I mean, I would like to see him still alive and breathing.
I agree 150%, because it's not okay. It's really hurtful when you think how many of them put their bodies on the line. They get injured more often than not. The promotions do cover the expenses. But when things like this happen, it's not okay.
It isn't. And this is not just the TNA. This is just to all wrestling promotions.
Absolutely.
That it needs to be available. Even independent scene, because I can't tell you how many times I see independent wrestlers have serious injuries and they have to do a GoFundMe page. I'm happy it's covered, but at the same time, it's like, this is where, and I know some promotions can't afford it, but I think this is where you kind of have to put a union in place.
And the other thing too with the union is one of the reasons it's probably unlikely, because those who are making the big bucks would have to have a voice, and I don't see them putting their paychecks on the line. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but there is a difference, and it is a brotherhood, it is a sisterhood, but at the end of the day, they are independent contractors, and this is real. That's real.
It is very, very real. So hopefully somebody give me Jesse the Body Ventura's contact so we can get this started. But one more news to round out TNA. And if you did watch TNA last night, we had the presence of a TNA knockout. Former Knockouts champion ODB was there defending Mickie James because Mickie James is in a feud with Ash by Elegance, and she kind of gave the last laugh to the entire Elegance brand. And Hope, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this regarding ODB making her surprise return at TNA.
Love ODB. I was actually wondering if she was coming back for the inaugural return of TNA on AMC. I saw all these fabulous people and I was like, where's ODB? Where's ODB? It's like, yes, finally. And, it was obviously great seeing her again. Hopefully they'll keep her around. She clearly still has it, but I'm not going to lie to you, Courtney. I was cracking up between ODB's return and watching Lillian Garcia and her fiance in the audience fanning out. Literally.
Oh my God. It was so funny. I was so happy to see ODB. The one thing I just wish they did play her entrance as a surprise. I know she had to come through the crowd and everything. I just wish they showed her entrance and she would have just like trash talked her way through that. That's the one thing I wish. But I'm so happy to see ODB back because she is one of the ladies that did pay the way for the Knockouts division. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. And of course, we did get an appearance from Mama June because she does have her show on AMC. So she's good friends with ODB, but it's always a treat to seeing one of the OG Knockouts.
Absolutely.
And it's crazy. And it's crazy because she announced that she's on her final tour. Like she's wrestling independent in her final year.
ODB, I did not approve that. Did not approve that, ODB. You cannot retire. We won't allow it. No.
Well, I'm happy she's making at least TNA appearances during her retirement tour. So that makes me feel better.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, whatever she decides, I wish her the best because she's given it all. She was definitely one of the leaders in TNA back in the Dixie Carter, Jeff Jarrett years. Mm-hmm. And she brought great joy and entertainment and could wrestle.
Yes, she can.
Yes, she could. And brawl.
Yes, she did. She was a woman that you did not want to mess with.
No, and great on the mic. And that's something that's missing with a lot of talent, but that's a whole nother show.
That's a whole nother one. It's funny you mentioned Mike, but before we get into SmackDown, we did have some news that technically relates to the Blue Brand. It's actually one of their head writers, the Road Dogg, because we found out yesterday he resigned from WWE after being unhappy with the annual review. But if you saw Unreal that happened earlier this year, the second season, there was a certain clip that aired regarding Road Dogg, and I guess there was just a bit of confusion where a lot of people were, but going into a lot of deep. So this actually happened yesterday, and good old Uncle Dave reported this, making the rounds of the decision, his position on the creative team after receiving his annual performance review. People indicated that the Road Dogg was unhappy with the feedback provided during the review and chose to resign from his role as the co-leader for the SmackDown brand. He returned to the company in 2014 and been a fixture process for almost over a decade, but it had to come to an end with everything else. And there is a lot of shifting with creative, especially since we are on the road to WrestleMania because we have 6-7 weeks. But Hope, I just want to get your thoughts on this because this has been buzzing a lot since yesterday, and just wanted to get your feels on, did you think, was this the right decision that WWE made?
It says a lot because Road Dogg I remember Road Dogg when he came out with R-Truth, when they had the braids and everything. I remember Road Dogg obviously with DX and coming out with Double J. He's good friends with Triple H, Paul Levesque. And it's no secret, we both love wrestling. Everyone in the chat loves wrestling, but there's been a lot going on with creative versus what's been going on in the past. And it's shown because ratings have dropped across the board. WrestleMania tickets still have sold out. Any other time, it would be completely sold out or close to it. That speaks volumes. And knowing his relationship with Triple H, for this to have occurred, whether he resigned, forced to resign, or what have you, it really does speak volumes about what's going on behind the scenes. Because at the end of the day, this is no longer the McMahon WWE. This is TKO's WWE. The Rock is on the board of TKO. Everyone knows, or I would imagine people know, the relationship or the friction between Triple H and The Rock. All of this plays a role, going back to even a few weeks ago when Roman Reigns gave the shoot promo and gave kudos to Nick Khan, but knocked creative, essentially. But who's in charge of creative? That's Triple H. People sometimes forget that Roman is the cousin of The Rock. So what's going on behind the scenes? You know, people refer to that infamous that clip from Unreal, and rightfully so, but it does make you question how many more takes, how much did we not see? That was only what we were allowed to see. And it says to me, for him to be gone, Triple H has to know that if things don't turn around, he could very well be out of a job. And at the end of the day, it's very scary in a way, because even though Road Dogg was a part of it, obviously because he was a leader, but if you recall the tape and other clips as well, Road Dogg was the one who spoke up for those in the locker room who were underdogs. He was a big Chelsea Green supporter. You know, that voice is gone now. I'm concerned about what's going to happen to some of those folks who deserve the push, wouldn't have gotten the push if he wasn't there. I am happy. I don't recall her name, about the new head writer over at Raw now, who is female. So that is exciting, most definitely. And I hope things turn around, and Road Dogg will absolutely be okay. He's got to be tired. You know, I had mentioned it somewhat on Wednesday. You know, these writers, there's no off season in wrestling. These writers have to be tired, and I would dare say burned out, regardless of the passion. And it is difficult. I don't envy them at all, having to come up with ideas and stories, you know, week after week in the meetings and everything going with it, and filtering it through Triple H and his review and going through all of them, Triple H included. That's hard work. I admire them. And it's one of the reasons why I love pro wrestling. I appreciate everything that they put into it. But at the end of the day, creative has to turn things around. Otherwise, TKO will step in and other folks will not like the way things go down. ESPN, I mean, they can't afford another C- for a PLE from ESPN. Netflix is watching as well. Road Dogg will be fine. I personally hope that he takes some well-deserved time off, you know, and decide what he wants to do. There are definitely alternatives for him. I would imagine he saved his money. This was a smart guy, very fan friendly as well, very appreciative of his fans. I had the honor of meeting him a few times. I believe you have as well. But good guy, sorry that he's gone, but I know he'll be okay. And there's always the convention circuit. I mean, there are ways for him to make money. So, Road Dogg, if you're watching, we got you.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fine. And you did point out a good point in that, because I don't think people realize when it comes to creative, because of course he did support Chelsea Green. Obviously, he supported Art Truth. Like, there's no questions about the relationship him and Art Truth had. But there was also some missed points when it came to SmackDown. And one of the things I have talked about is you're not giving a lot of airtime to your tag team division. You don't have a good story for them. And I know people are not, I'm not going to say people aren't high on tag teams, but as a person that do love tag teams, there are good storylines in between. Like, I know the MFTs are the reigning tag team champions because you have them in the Wyatt Six, but I would love to see like the Street Profits get back in there. I know we have Fraxium. I mean, I would love to see Fraxium get in there. And I know Kit Wilson solo, but hopefully when Elton Prince heals up, I would love to see Pretty Deadly back in there. Los Garzas. There's so much excitement because he did do it leading up to SummerSlam, but then it just kind of faltered a bit. So I would like to see a lot of consistency with the tag team division, and also seeing a lot of ladies in the women's division. We did mention Chelsea Green. I would like to see Candice LeRae get back in singles action, and also seeing a lot of other ladies get an opportunity to shine. BFAB, Michin, getting those opportunities, but hopefully we do. Road Dogg's going to be fine, but creative, people don't realize creative is very hard. And also you have to figure out the demographic. You have to figure out the demographic that we're in right now, because almost everybody's going to be focusing on Gen Z and the casual fans who don't watch wrestling as much as we do, but they do watch wrestling, but it's kind of like mainstream. So that's something to really think about. And I know there's always been a disconnect there, but it's just really knowing who your audience is and also really telling great stories as well. It's just like not being too repetitive.
Not to mention, shaking up that writer's room. There needs to be a Black woman and a Black man. There needs to be a Latino woman and a Latino man. Shake it up a little bit so that the storylines fit, that makes sense, because certain folks can't write for certain folks just because they don't understand what certain folks have been through. And that's just the reality of it. And that's a huge part of it. I'm not, just God bless them truly, because they put in some serious work, some of the hardest workers there, without question. And I am hopeful that, programming moving forward will incorporate a lot of what you said. You're absolutely right. I grew up, with the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express and the Heart Foundation. So I get that. It's like, right. When's the last time we seen the Street Profits, but it's valid, and it'll be interesting to see what happens moving forward, because the pressure is definitely there. The burnout has to be there regardless of the passion. But, at the end of the day, things do tend to work out. And, I wish them well. I want them to do well. We both love pro wrestling. I don't want WWE, TNA, or AEW or the independents going anywhere. No. I want them alive and strong, and I want as many fans to come in and enjoy and experience it the way that I did when I first fell in love with it, in the way that you did when you first fell in love with it.
Yes, and I can recall that because I watched wrestling in the Ruthless Aggression era. I missed the Attitude Era by a couple months, but I know I missed it by a couple months, and I started in the Ruthless Aggression era.
That was a good era, but Attitude, if you have not, you have. I mean, yeah, that's 2 or 3 shows.
Yes. I did watch. That's why YouTube and archive footage is still there. That's why I watched some of it. But since we were talking about the Road Dogg and SmackDown, we do have SmackDown happening tonight at the top of the hour from the Pacific Northwest in Portland, Oregon. at the top of the hour. Of course, you can always watch it on Honey Night SmackDown because she will be doing a 3-hour watch along to get you ready as we continue the road to WrestleMania. And courtesy of Nick Aldis, because he made a post earlier today, we are going to have the main event for the WWE Undisputed Championship between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. They will finally go one-on-one after Drew McIntyre interfering in all of Cody's matches. We're also going to have an appearance. Yes. And we're also going to have an appearance by Miss Rhea Ripley because she will be confronting Jade Cargill for the first time on live TV. So,
get your popcorn.
Yes, get your popcorn ready. It's going to be fun. And also, I know they call them the irresistible forces, but here in WWT, we call them the bougie bullies. Lash Legend and Nia Jax, they are the new women's tag team champions, and they will have a celebration tonight. So I'm sure they're going to bring out the champagne, the cake, confetti, everything happening. And who is going to step up to these two ladies for these coveted belts? We're also, and since we were also talking about tag team, on the men's side, we are going to have a number one contender tag team turmoil match to face off against the MFTs. We don't know who's going to be participating in them. Nick Aldis made the call. So very curious on who is going to be in this gauntlet match. And also, we are going to have Mr. Carmelo Hayes, the reigning United States champion, will be continuing his gauntlet challenge. Who's going to step up to the plate against Mr. Carmelo Hayes? And I don't have a slide for this, but Nick Aldis posted this earlier today that Randy Orton will be kicking off the show after his win at Elimination Chamber. So all this and more happening at the top of the hour on SmackDown at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And Hope, is there any match or segment that you're really interested in seeing on SmackDown tonight?
I want to see Rhea and Jade. That's all I want to see. I'm popping that. I'm just sitting there. That's all I want to see, and observe the body language and everything else, because that will tell, going back to our conversation on Wednesday, is there true friction with Jade and the other ladies in the locker room?
Yes. Obviously, Rhea and Jade's going to be a very interesting one because they took a lot of shots with each other. So let's see if they can translate that in on screen. I'm very excited to see the tag team turmoil on the gauntlets. Very curious on who's going to be participating in that. Also, I mean, the main event is going to be very interesting with Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes, but also we're going to hear from Randy Orton. Really curious on what his thoughts are going to say, because he did win. He has an opportunity for the WWE Undisputed Championship at WrestleMania. And it's going to be very interesting between now and April on how this is going to plan out.
It is. I love Drew. I mean, he's got it all. He's got the looks. He can wrestle. He can talk. He can draw heat. He's a star, And then, of course, there's the legend killer, the king of RKO. You won't go wrong with Randy. Another one, by the way, who's very appreciative of his fans. And of course, Cody, another one, perfect representative for WWE. I'm rooting. I love you, Cody. You took a pick with me, but I'm rooting for Drew. But the thing with me, Courtney, is I've always rooted for the bad guys.
That's okay. That is okay. But speaking of appreciative, I kind of knew he was not going to miss this episode with the fact we are talking about NXT Vengeance Day and his certain clients going to the underground. So, of course, it's more setting. It's one of our constituents, said, who is president of the Lola Vice fan club.
Hello.
Building.
The mayor of Vice City.
Yes.
Part of the Laredo family. It's all documented. You can look it up on socials. And I'm only here for one reason. To talk the underground. The ever-present, undefeated queen of the underground. The queen of MMA and WWE. Against the pretty girl in NXT. That apparently is getting advice from Shayna Baszler, who lost a lot. She's getting bad advice already. Carmelo, I hope you got insurance on the ring. That's all I'm gonna say. Because the face gonna look different after tomorrow.
Wow. We will be doing
we'll
bold
get
predictions.
into it. We'll
be talking bold predictions, but I just wanted to get your quick thoughts regarding SmackDown tonight, because I'm not sure if you saw the whole card for SmackDown, but we have Drew versus Cody for the WWE Undisputed title. We're going to see Rhea Ripley confront Jade Cargill. We're also going to have I'm going to call them the Bougie Bullies, Lash Legend and Nia Jax. They're going to be having their celebration after winning the women's tag team titles. And we're also going to have, for the men's, a tag team title gauntlet match where we're going to determine the number one contenders for the MFT. We're also going to have Carmelo Hayes doing his United States Open Challenge. And also Randy Orton is going to kick off the show after his win at Elimination Chamber.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, SmackDown's pretty stacked tonight, and honestly, they probably have the clearest picture of what we're doing heading into Mania than Raw for sure. Piggybacking off Elimination Chamber, happy that Randy's going to get his spot. Everybody has their eyes on what's happening with Drew and Cody, and I mean, it's still pretty telegraphed what we're doing to me, but I'm happy that we got here this way as opposed to Cody standing tall at the Elimination Chamber. I don't think Cody defeats Drew clean, despite everything that's going on, despite the whole lingering Cody versus Randy things. We can do that anytime. I think this is how we get a Fatal 4-Way. And I think the Fatal 4-Way is the worst kept secret they've had because we just have to please Cody and make sure he looks like QB1 to everybody. But it's very clear to me that Jacob's going to get involved in this match. And once Jacob gets involved in this match, Aldis will have no choice but to make it a triple threat. But wait, Randy Orton is the number one contender. Oh, now we have a Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania. This is what we're doing. Like, there's no way Jacob had a chance to go in the Elimination Chamber last week. Drew cost him, and we don't see Jacob tonight. There's no chance. The biggest thing to come out of tonight outside of that is whatever the hell is going to happen between Jade and Rhea with a microphone present. I think everybody wants to see how hot that beef really is. Rhea already posted a story today, said, "Let the fun begin," and she looked very unhappy about being at SmackDown today. So we'll see. The company needs more villains, and I mean like true villains that people just dislike. You don't have to like you don't have to like your coworkers, contrary to popular belief. But if you can make magic off of it, you can make magic off of that animosity. That's when the best things happen on television. So hopefully they can make magic, and hopefully it allows Jade to really ascend her star because she's only had 2 title defenses.
It's a valid point.
2 title defenses, but another woman that's been on the SmackDown roster that everybody loves and really wants to push, Chelsea Green, because we've been talking about Chelsea so much. But it was very interesting because Chelsea put out this article today, and she's often getting praised for her ability to make the most time off of television. I know right now she's in a wheelchair. She has a leg brace, but she's making it. She's making it work, and she's been regularly featured. But she commented on her rise and the autonomy she's earned from the creative team. They just keep giving me reassurance that what I was doing was right. So every week I push the boundary and the envelope. Now we're at a point where the writers are so incredible with me. They basically just tell me what vibe they want from me, and then I write my own promos. I come up with a lot of things I do, like the character moments. All the stuff in the past 3 years is because WWE has put full and total trust in me. And pretty much it kind of goes back to Chelsea in her journey that she pretty much did a lot since she's been here the last couple of years. She was the inaugural United States Women's Champion. As I mentioned, she's making the most out of it, being in a wheelchair. And also she did get the AAA mixed tag team champions with Ethan Page, especially with her and Ethan being Canadians and all. That was a really fun run to do. But also just kind of want to get your quick thoughts, because we have talked about Chelsea a lot. And also it's been brewing a lot because Michael Hayes says some things about Chelsea Green, and then it kind of went back and forth as of work. But also Chelsea, she's just kind of making lemons out of lemonade. Even if it's the worst thing in the world, She's just kind of doing it. So I just wanted to get your quick thoughts in there, because once Chelsea gets healed, do you think it's time for her to be in the women's world title picture?
Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Chelsea's a star. She is the underrated star. This woman has a social media presence, can wrestle, can talk, makes all of her outfits. If you think she hasn't had, every outfit is different. Literally, she's got more than Bianca. It's insane how she's able to make the best out of a bad situation. And look at her now in a wheelchair. How many wrestlers are out injured? And she's the only one who's out there still doing it. It takes me back to the Attitude Era, when even when folks were injured, male or female, they utilized them. They put them on the mic. They were in commentary. They were in segments in the back. They weren't at home. Chelsea is still out there doing her thing. She has the fan base. She has the following. She can gain support, and she's a winner. I mean, I am a proud member of the Secret Hervis. I love it. Just brilliant. Just brilliant.
Said, you got any thoughts you want to add in?
Oh, goodness.
I mean, she's always around. I might have to start calling her Chelsea Kardashian or Chelsea Jenner. She finds a way to really bring herself into everything. Like, Chelsea was the catalyst in this whole back and forth between Jade and Rhea. It was Chelsea's tweet that set everything off. She finds a way to really squeeze herself into storylines, to give herself a boost, whether it's social media, whether it's in programming. She's the person that will always do the job. The problem that I see with putting her in the world title picture, and it's very deserved. I won't say it's undeserved. It's like, I don't see her defeating anybody at the top of the card right now, not in a legitimate match. I look at her route to getting there as more Money in the Bank, and I think she can do wonders carrying that briefcase the same way Naomi did. Customize it, or even like Tiffany, customizing the briefcase, making some merch like that, building off of your brand, and also making the company more dollars that way. And that way, whoever she defeats, it's a cash in, and you can build a title run from there. But like, can I see her defeating like the top women at the shows right now? I can't see her defeating a Io or Rhea or a Jade or a Tiffany or a Stephanie, like those stars. Not yet, because she hasn't been built that way. She's built as more of the intersection of the division where there's comic relief, or where you have the heels do her dirty work. So I think Money in the Bank is the route. And since she didn't get it last year, now's as good a time as ever to get her on that trajectory, if she's able to be healed by the time Money in the Bank rolls around this summer.
But here's the thing, too, to piggyback on what you were saying, because your points are definitely valid. When she became inaugural U.S. Women's Champion, even up to that, I mean, she was doing her thing, and then she lost, and it was like they were burying her. And I couldn't understand what was going on until I saw the Michael Hayes clip. And then it was like, okay, is part of your reasoning valid? Is it part of because of what we've seen? Because I literally have witnessed her getting like mega pops, and then all of a sudden it was there, but not at the same level. And now it's coming back. And this is the whole part. I suspect it's more creative versus Chelsea herself. Because Rhea, love Rhea. I said the other day, I don't understand why Rhea hasn't made a movie yet. She is such a superstar. But if you look at how they've handled Rhea since she returned from her injury, yeah, she got the tag team gold with Io, but it's not the same Rhea.
It's crazy. We were talking about Chelsea a couple months ago, and she should be on Dancing with the Stars, but talent won't let her do that. Talent relations, because there's so much that she could do, but I don't know. But I do
still
think,
a show.
Yeah, it's still on TV.
Nah, that they probably save her. Dancing with the Stars, where you go. That's where you go when like your career is already like at the bottom. It's like your last gasp of air. Like,
Well, it's kind of crazy because, when Stacy did it, it was like close to it. But when Jericho did it, it was like he was still active.
how old was he though?
He had to be like in his 40s. His 40s? He had to be around his 40s.
Yeah, 40s had to be.
Yeah, because I remember when Stacy did it, the second season, it was close to her being released. And we only saw her for like two appearances, and then she got released. But that's Miss Chelsea Green, because I would like to see her do that. Money in the Bank is plausible. I mean, we have still enough time getting to New Orleans. I do think she's long overdue for Money in the Bank. There's a lot of entertainment purposes that she can really do. But another thing that we could celebrate, because it is Women's History Month, is the Women's Wrestling Archive, because we get to celebrate the past, the present, and the future of women's wrestling.
Women's wrestling didn't just show up yesterday in glitter boots. We've been here the entire time, body slamming through history.
The Women's Wrestling Archive launches 2026, and it's going to pave the way for all women's wrestling.
Because if we don't document it, a man might think he did it first.
This has been a passion project for a very long time. Head over to the womenswrestlingarchive.com to donate 1, 5, or whatever you can. It all goes a long way.
Let's give these women the spotlight that they've always deserved.
Her story belongs in history. Help us preserve it today. Join us at womenswrestlingarchive.com. Support the archive. Support women's wrestling. Donate today.
Support everything you have in the Women's Archive. And yes, Cousin Ron, The Miz also did Dancing with the Stars.
He sure did.
And the only reason why I remember Jericho was still active is because CM Punk made a reference to his placement on Dancing with the Stars.
Leave it to Punk.
Yeah, it was just crazy in that promo. But we do have NXT Vengeance Day, but we also have CMLL happening tonight. Persephone, she's got a big match tonight against the CEO Mercedes Moné, who is the reigning CMLL Women's World Champion. And she was talking to Fightful earlier today, right before her match. Also, a quick FYI, you can watch this later tonight on Triller TV and on YouTube. But Persephone was on Fightful earlier today talking about her match against Mercedes Moné. And she really goes on to say, I think it's going to be the final test of last year. Was a great year. Maybe that match I had against her in October didn't end the way I wanted, but overall, I think it was a great year. I won the Grand Prix, went to Tokyo, to London. I did a lot. So I think this kind of feels like a culmination of all that. This is kind of the way to end everything I've done in the past and kind of seal it that I am who I know who I am. I'm actually going to start off with said only because it's Mercedes Moné, because she has a big match tonight. So, thoughts regarding her opponent?
See, I don't want to talk about this because we got to talk about Lola today, and I won't let you steal my joy. Nope. Because this is the greatest women's wrestler of all time, doing her give back tour all 2026 until we get to the summertime, wherever the big show is going to be. And yes, she's dropped some belts. The belt collector thing is diminishing. So we made Persephone famous months ago, and now we're about to make her an even bigger star because she's going to win. So you're welcome, Persephone. You'll get a pinfall or a tap against Mercedes, and you get to say, hey, I was there and in there, and I beat the greatest women's wrestler of all time, and I defeated her for the CMLL title, and I got this big contract now. Thank you, Mercedes. I better see hashtags on Twitter when that shit happens, but yeah, that there's not much more I can say. We're going to keep doing this until she's at 0 so she can win the AEW title. That's what's going to happen.
Hope you have any thoughts.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but yeah, Mercedes will likely drop the belt tonight. But look at the end of the road. She will eventually get the AEW Women's Championship. I mean, it's Mercedes. It's okay. it's okay. She's fabulous. She's untouchable. She's the CEO. I support her regardless of how many belts she has. So as much as I hate to say it, yeah, she's likely going to tap, or something else is going to occur for that belt to change hands.
You know what? I actually want her to win tonight, to be honest. I actually kind of want her to win. I really want her to keep that belt.
That would be a disservice to Persephone, though.
Oh yeah, that is true.
Be a disservice. I think the blueprint was clear. I go around collecting all these belts on the big star. I beat all these people, but when I rematch them or they crown the next star that can be the champion of all these brands, I drop to them. But what I'm more interested in is, I think this match did big numbers on the previous hosting site before. I want to see how big the viewership is as a result on Triller, on socials, like how many people are talking about it, if it's trending. I think that'll be a bigger tale of why we took this long road to get to these matches when you crown somebody new, and how it builds off of that.
That is very true. Thankfully, thanks to AEW, I've learned a lot about Persephone, because she is no joke. And I actually did see her match against Athena. It was very hard hitting between those two ladies. I'm very curious to see where this go. And by the way, this event for CMLL, it's all women. All women's matches tonight, which that is an exclusive treat. Obviously, of course, we are going to have some AEW stars there. We're going to have Mina Shirokana there. We're going to have Megan Bain, along with many others. So I do expect this to be a good, solid show. And also, it's going to be a good, solid match between both of these ladies. Because Mercedes is going to be fine. She's going to be AEW Women's Champion. She's going to be AEW's champion. She's going to run through like everybody in that women's division, except the woman that got me into AEW, Madam Timeless.
She's going to get that win back. She's absolutely getting that win back. 100%.
We shall see. Well, I mean, I would be too if I beat Madam Timeless. But switching from CMLL, we have NXT Vengeance Day happening tomorrow at the top of the hour at 7 Eastern time, and it's streaming exclusively on Peacock. So we do have a few matches lined up. We have the Tony D'Angelo with his new refreshed look taking on Dark State's Dion Lennox. Seth, I'll start with you. Who do you think is going to get the victory?
First and foremost, on Dion Lewis, that's a wig. I can't prove it right now, but that's a wig.
Oh my God.
What? I cannot.
I'm going to prove it eventually, though. I can tell. I know the difference. Honestly, the last time we had an NXT PLE, I think it was, I want to say it was the Iron Survivor. Maybe there was one between there. I really felt like Dion Lewis should have won that. That was just me as a way of thinking that Dark State should have some staying power here. So while Tony D'Angelo has been on this revenge tour, taking out members of Dark State, it's fresh for Tony D'Angelo. I'm still wondering what happened to the rest of the family. I know Rizzo's recovering from injury. Where's Crucifino? But I think this is one where Lewis will get a signature win, and it still keeps this feud going further, because there's not many men's storylines that are prominent in NXT right now.
Hope, who do you have winning?
I agree. It doesn't make sense for it to go the other way. They are lacking in storylines in the men's division. So yeah, it's also NXT, and I wouldn't be surprised if a surprise came and interrupted, a much needed surprise, perhaps, just to make things interesting.
I will say for this one, I am going with Tony. His new look is very refreshing and resetting. And I know he's been trying to get at Dark State, especially after they lost the tag team titles to the Vanity Project. So this is going to be an interesting route. So I'm going to take Tony D'Angelo to pick up the victory over Dion Lennox. And we also have Miss Jada Parker taking on the glamour Blake Monroe in a street fight. One-on-one, these two ladies. Hope, who do you have in this match?
I may get some heat for this, but I'm gonna go with Blake.
Blake Monroe. Said, who do you have in this match?
As the governor of Parkerville, I'm very happy to see my client back on NXT programming. This is quite simple. Blake Monroe is going to be in NXT for just a tad bit longer. She's going to have some meaningful rivalries against the next crop of big stars. If you've noticed, they're always, I guess you can call them stipulation matches that she's in. She's kind of made a name off being in matches that have some type of stipulation to allow her to get that edge. But she is better when she's better when she has something to chase or when she's grieving a loss, if that makes sense. Her character as a whole. So I think Parker wins and does just enough to get past Blake. Maybe not in like a massively convincing way, but in a way where she leaves with a W and Blake loses and kind of goes on a temper tantrum.
Yeah, these ladies are gonna go at it in a street fight. I would go with Blake, but I think I'm gonna go with Jada Parker on this victory. I don't think this is gonna hurt Blake. I mean, Blake, she's the glamour. Of course, she's gonna be like so dramatic and everything that she does, but Blake's gonna be fine. But I am picking Miss Jada Parker to get the victory in this street fight.
I mean, isn't that fair? The glamour is built off delusion, right?
Yeah, it's kind of in a way
built off delusion. Like
she's been behaving a little Cocoa for Cocoa Puffs lately too.
that's just how it is. But we have this match in the underground: Lola Vice, Kalani Jordan. I'm gonna put this over to Sed because I already know who's he gonna pick in this match.
None other than the undefeated queen in the underground. And if it was me, Hickenbottom, this would be a squash match. You putting a gymnast in there with a trained, skilled fighter. This is not Natty that actually has some grappling skills. This is not Shayna Baszler joining the underground. This is a gymnast. Like, this should be over within 5 minutes. Now, I will say this. Hickenbottom, my guy, my GOAT. If you screw me tomorrow, I'm gonna have to come to Orlando. That you will leave me no choice. So Backlash is in Tampa. I can make the drive from Tampa to Orlando. We can talk. Don't do what I think you're gonna do. We don't need shock value here. We need what's straight and above. Yeah, she's going into the match with an injured hand. She might not use the back fist, but she's gonna tap Kaylani out. Let's be honest. This is the only woman in the entire company with her own specialty match. Let's keep that trend going because you're going to build off it in AAA. You're going to build off it on the main roster. Lola Vice wins convincingly, gets her lick back for Kalani for months ago. And hopefully they did that little vignette where she said, I better be on the stand to deliver card. That's just in less than a month from now. We get to see what Lola's place is in St. Louis on the 4th.
I agree. It'll be Lola. It'll be Lola MMA, and it doesn't hurt that she's dating Damian Priest. Hey.
I am gonna pick Lola Vice because I mean you can't go against her in her specialty match. I mean, we've seen her in the last 3 times when she's competed, so it's no joke. But she is a star on the rise. Make sure to check out Denise Salcedo's interview with Lola Vice because she dropped it on YouTube the other day, and it's a really good interview that she did with Lola Vice, and it really taps into a lot of people know about her with her background and everything that she's done. But she's definitely making her mark in AAA. Hopefully we get to see her in Stand and Deliver, but I'm picking Lola Vice for the victory. And we have the NXT North American Women's Championship, Tatum Paxley taking on Izzy Dane. Said, I'll start with you. Who do you have winning?
I've been out the loop. I didn't even know this thing was still going on between these two ladies. Izzy kind of fell into the title when we had the mishap between Thea and Blake, and they had to pivot from there. I always felt like it was going to be transitional, but I'm happy that she's carried it for a little while. I think this is where Tatum finally gets her comeuppance against Izzy and the rest of the culling and takes something away from her as well as the rest of the group. So I got Pax.
Belt stays with the champ.
I'm actually picking Tatum Paxley to get the victory. I'm sorry, for a person that brings out a chainsaw and scares away the rest of the culling. I mean, come on. You can't go wrong with that.
I root for the bad guys. So come on.
Because Pax was also just like a super short women's champion. Like that didn't last
Let's
long
keep
at
it
all.
real, though. How many people have been champ and maybe didn't necessarily deserve to be champ? How long is that list?
I don't know, but Pac's been in NXT for a minute grinding. I've always said that Tatum Paxley was quietly a phenomenal wrestler. I think with her, they just had to figure out her character, and I think now she has it a little bit. But always phenomenal in the ring, even dating back to like Level Up days. So I think with her, she has a character now. Maybe they put the spotlight on her too fast when they had her win the women's title, and they're like, "Oh, not yet." So I think this allows her to still develop that character on TV with the North American Women's Champion, also be a defending champion, somebody who can put on a dope match every Tuesday. Kind of like what Kalani did to build the title. I can see that.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will see.
That makes a lot of sense. And we have the NXT Men's Championship. Joe Hendry taking on Ricky Saints.
I love Ricky Saints, but it stays with Hendry. I do love him. I know he just came back from filming a show, and one would think to keep the momentum going that the belt would change. I don't see them taking it off Hendry just yet.
They really messed up when they had Ricky defeat Oba for that title. It was way too soon. And now it's like you just know he's not going to get the title yet, if even again, because that will put you in rarefied air as a two-time NXT World Champion. And it's just too soon. So, like, I think the smart money is Joe Hendry retains. I think he needs to carry this title until Q4 this year and kind of recapture that Joe Hendry that we saw at WrestleMania last year. Where Ricky goes from here is I think he still hovers around that along with Ethan Page, because you need to build viable challengers around Joe Hendry. Like Joe Hendry, with the meteoric rise he had from TNA last year, he deserves to have a bigger spotlight on this men's division for the greater part of this year. And I think Ricky and Ethan are going to be a part of that, but we need more. So if there's some guys on Raw and SmackDown not doing nothing, y'all need to come down and help boost this for NXT.
I'm going to pick Joe Hendry to retain. I actually do love Ricky, but it has been very interesting since he came to NXT. And it kind of really sucks because it's like, if he wins, it's like, but if he loses, it's like, what's next for Ricky Starks? And did I say Ricky Starks? Ricky Saints.
I'm the same.
I know. It's like AEW, Ricky Saints. But Ricky, I just think he has to do a lot of soul searching. He has to do a lot of soul searching in NXT. Heck, I wouldn't even mind if he made a jump to TNA for a bit, like taking some time off in the next couple months, jumping into TNA, not doing anything crazy. Because I know TNA, they do have some storylines like Mike Santana and Steve Macklin. Leon Slater, he's the reigning X Division champion. I forget who's the international champion. I want to say Trey Miguel is the reigning.
I think so.
Yeah, Trey Miguel.
Well, Ricky got some side missions. And I see this happening next month in Mania. Like whatever show Zilla gonna be on in Vegas, they still got to do that.
Oh my God, yeah.
So I think they're gonna end up doing that sometime next month.
Zilla Fatu wants his hands on Ricky Saints. He wants his hands.
That makes sense. Wow.
So, but that pretty much wraps up our bold predictions for NXT Vengeance Day happening tomorrow. Not sure if we're doing a watch on tomorrow, but you can watch it on Peacock on 7 p.m. Eastern time. But is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Because those are all the stories that I have for today.
No,
Anything
I think we
missed?
covered everything unless the mayor has something to add.
The mayor may do a watch along just for the underground. So if you see that red light come on during the underground, bring your ass. We're going to watch Kalani get her ass beat for all of 5 to maybe 30 minutes. That may be a thing tomorrow. So just be on the lookout for that.
Wow.
Um,
Well,
I'm
that
petty.
kind of,
I'm petty. Yeah.
it's no surprise.
You don't challenge my client to no underground match. That's crazy.
Well, we're gonna find out tomorrow. Hopefully Lola gets another, hopefully she keeps a record clean for tomorrow. But it wraps up Friday's edition of WWT Live. Just a friendly reminder, we do have SmackDown tonight. We do have CMLL tonight. It's all women. It's an all women show. So you can watch on Triller TV. You can watch it on YouTube. So it's happening tonight. We also have NXT Vengeance Day. But where can the people find you?
You can find me at Hope Honey's Baby on X, Facebook, and Instagram. Follow me and I'll follow you.
Said, where can the people find you?
Said is the answer on TikTok if I ever use it again. The government's being kind of weird there. Also, said is the answer on the gram. Also, said says on Twitter. And of course, on Monday nights for the Raw Watch Along. Not watch along, post show. Sorry. Don't give TK no ideas.
Dylan, save the clip. But I mean, you can always find me chirping periodically on WWT Live as much as I can. Wednesdays, I handle AEW Dynamite. You do not want to miss next week's Dynamite because it is the final Dynamite before AEW Revolution. So they will be in San Jose, California next week. So there's going to be a lot of mayhem. I will also be doing a watch along for AEW Revolution. So just a quick reminder there. Also, if you're in the LA area, please make sure to check out Denise Salcedo's show the night before Revolution because she will have Willow Nightingale there. It's going to be very exciting. So if you're in the LA, feel free to come out on the Saturday before Revolution. It's going to be insane. Shout out to everybody in the chat from Cousin Ron to Boza to Aaron Teagle to Lewis Johnson, everybody for hanging with us on a Friday night, the night before NXT Vengeance. You can also follow me on my socials at CourtneyNJ11 on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to follow ISPW Wrestling because they do have a lot of shows happening. Next Friday, they're going to be in Hackenstown, New Jersey, where Kurt Angle is going to be there. So if you love Kurt Angle, make sure to support your favorite Olympic gold medalist and also all the matches that are happening in ISPW. But do want to thank everybody for supporting us on this Friday edition of Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet, and we are celebrating women's history all month long.
Thanks for joining WWT. Don't forget to like us on all social media platforms at WW Talk Pod. Like and subscribe on all video and audio platforms, like yesterday, my G. And check out our website at www.talkpod.com. Thanks for watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the #1 women's wrestling network on the planet.